He used to be, before the war, he used to have a shop, he used to be a watchmaker.
Yeah.
He used to, and Manny and I used to go and visit him. And the machine where, you know, there's a special...
Yes.
And
Glass.
then he used to have a half sock. He said, "Come here, David. Come on, my laugh." He said, "I want to teach you something which is very important." I said, "Okay, Uncle Laby, what is it?" He said, "I want you to repeat after me. Works of the world unite. Works of the world unite. Unite against the capitalist system. Unite against the capitalist system." Right, have you got it? Now, Manny, you come over here and sit next to David. I want you to say together, "Workers of the world unite. Workers of the world unite. Unite against the capitalist system. Unite against the capitalist system." Again! So and so and so on. He said, "Now I want you to say, down with the workers. Down with the workers." And we used to say, "Down with the workers, down with the workers." When we got older, in the 20s, you know, I said to Manny, "Manny, do you remember when we used to go to Uncle Aby?" He said, "Yeah, of course." He said, "Do you remember the poem he used to teach us?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, it doesn't work out."
Yeah, let's do it.
Because you were working with that against the capitalist system.
Yeah, down with the workers.
Do you know, he said, "I never thought of it." We never. I never explained. I never asked him because he was, anyway. He ended up in a very upsetting situation.
Oh, what happened?
He was murdered. He was in his shop, and two thieves came in, and at gunpoint they said they wanted all his stuff to be put in a bag. This I found out when I was on Akshara in Dockenfield, because I went to Farnham, which was a town which was near Dockenfield. I had to go for some particular reason, and I took a newspaper and I saw on the front page, "Man murdered in Leeds, Levine, A.B. Levine."
What is it?
So I phoned up straight away to Mem. I said, "Is it true? What's going on?" He said, "Yes." He said, "The two thieves came into the shop and he refused to give them the what's his name, and they shot him, took out what they could, and they ran away. And they found them eventually. They were hanged. There was a death penalty, and that was his in the end, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay, so you came. So this is the end of the war. You remember the end of the war?
Definitely, yes.
What was the?
Well, there was jubilation, and everyone was happy, and so on, and it was a marvellous feeling.
I once saw pictures that they had tables and chairs out, and they were having a party outside in the street.
Don't remember.
No, in London. It was in London.
No, but it was something. It was something.
What was the economic situation after the war? Was it very tough?
We never had any real problems because my father used to work in hotels.
Yeah.
As a tailor.
He used to come to the hotels then. Who had money for hotels?
There was plenty of
in Leeds they had hotels?
Pardon?
In Leeds you had
hotels?
hotels?
We had 3 or 4 big hotels. It was a big town. It was a centre of woolen manufacturing. Burton's, you had very big places there. No, it was a very important town, Leeds, and they had Dad specialised. In those days, the waiters used to wear tail suits. And Dad specialised in that. So when he used to go down to all the hotels, and he used to make tail suits for them. What's the name? We couldn't find anybody else to do it. So he made a good living out of it, and they used to, as appreciation for his work and getting the food, they used to give him food. You know, whatever he wanted, he was never short him.
They're never short in the hotels. No rations there.
Don't suppose so. That's probably they paid well, but anyway, but he was all right. We were never really short. Only short of meat, kosher meat, and things like that, which were...
That was rationed?
That was rationed. Everything was rationed. And when I went to Akshara, we still had coupons. You know, food coupons that we used to have for chocolates. If you wanted sweets and so, we used to have coupons. We used to hand over the coupons.
Why? Why wasn't there enough food?
There wasn't anything.
Why? Because there weren't workers or what?
They were just still in the army, I suppose, and things were bad. I mean, look, it cost a fortune. I mean, lots of things were not made. There were.
You bet you didn't leave a trauma with you, the war.
No.
This wasn't.
Not at all. No,
sort of passed over you.
Not at all in Leeds. Those in London had suffered.
Yeah, you knew people who had suffered there.
You know, they had the bombs, like the flying bombs, like they have here. And, they had flying bombs from Europe, and you didn't know it used to only make a noise when it was ready to go over you. It was terrible noise.
Where were the Kagans? The Kagans were in their house during the war. Do you remember them speaking about the war?
Yes, I know. What's his name? I was speaking to one of the shocking. There were 3 houses. Both the side houses were smashed up to bits. Theirs remained. It was catastrophic in London. London, Coventry, all those places.
Why Coventry? What was in Coventry?
And the most probably there were armament factories there.
Okay, so you finished the war. The war's over in 1945, so you were 15.
Yeah.
You never went to
No.
grammar school?
No. Harold was the only one. He was paid for. And until after the war.
What was the percentage of boys and girls that used to go to grammar school? Was it a low percentage then?
A very low percentage. We didn't have money at all to pay.
Yeah.
Because things were very bad.
But there was no free education there?
Yes, only those who won scholarship, but the scholarship was very...
No, I'm talking free education for everybody.
Yes, it was free.
That was just till primary school?
Until 13,
yeah.
till 14.
And then you used to go to work?
Till 14, we used to go to work, yes.
Yeah.
And I worked for Dad.
Yeah.
And after the war, Manny and Harold worked for a firm of optical making glasses, fitting glasses, whilst they went to Bradford to learn optics, to get a degree, which they did, and both of them succeeded, and they opened their own shops.
So,
used to do all their after work. They used to go to Bradford.
So let's go back to that. Your bar mitzvah was during the war.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you remember your bar mitzvah?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah. Manny's also was bar mitzvah was during the war. Because he was telling me that, I don't remember it actually, I remember my bar mitzvah, but the shul was closed because we had an air raid the following night and nobody came.
The night before?
The night before, sorry. And nobody was there, and they were waiting for the Shabbos to come to open up the shul.
Well, which one? Which shul was it?
Shas we went to, because
Shas.
that's what we belonged to.
Yeah.
And I also had it in the Shas.
I never went to that shul, I don't remember.
No, you don't. No.
It was closed up
already joined with the Chevrolet.
That I remember. So who was there? Just the family, just the close family?
Yeah,
and you had a kiddush afterwards?
Kiddush afterwards in our house.
In the house?
Yeah.
Okay, so B'nai Akiva, what age did you start going? That made, you could say that made a profound...
profound change in my life.
Changing your life.
I went to B'nai Akiva because when I was about 16, 15 or 16, I was working for Dad, and Manny and Harold used to go to Judean club. It was called Judean club, where only Jews used to go to, and boys and girls mixed, and so I went there, and they told us, well, I'm more serious. Well, we've got a chess. We've got a chess club, and we've got this club, and we've got that, and it was dancing together and so on. I never found my place there. They were happy there, and I wasn't happy there. So, what was it? I was going to shul once, and I met somebody there in shul, and he said, well, I go to B'nai Akiva. I said, what's B'nai Akiva? So he said, well, it's Jewish youth movement. I said, well, I'll go. I said, well,
how old was it then in Leeds? How many years was it?
It must have been about
Existed.
4 years or something like that.
4
Well, I
years
don't
ago.
know, maybe, you know, just started during the war, I'm not sure, because it was, the Bachad and the Bnei Akiva was founded by European Jews, you
Yeah.
know, those that came over. They were all Germans, but those who were in charge of it, Franz Kritzler, Walter Hirschberg, and Aryeh Handler, they were all from Germany. And they organised, they were youngsters. They organised a big organisation. It was just unbelievable. And they got millionaires to help them out. And they bought the farm, which was goodness knows how many acres,
Yeah.
with tractors and things like that. They got a person called Oscar Philipp. Oscar Philipp was also a German who was exceedingly rich. He dealt in gold, and he became the sponsor. And we've seen him many times. Mum used to speak to him. He used to come down to the farm, and other, you know, very rich Jews, really rich Jews came. And anyway, so they opened up snifim, branches in towns like Liverpool and Manchester.
Bnei Akiva.
Yeah. And in Leeds they opened up a group and they got people together and so children together.
You had a bite there.
Bite, a small bite at the beginning when I used to go.
So you went there and you enjoyed it there.
I was a changed person there. It first of all, they used to have people coming down giving shiurim and giving talks.
So who were the type of boys and girls that used to go there?
They were from religious families.
And the Judean thing were not from?
No.
Yeah,
They
and
were
these were mainly from
religious
families that
yeah.
used to come, yeah.
There were still few religious families, you know, in Leeds, and they used to send their children there. And there was David's Menshevsky's. There were quite a number of people, were very nice people, and they used to give shiurim. And then once Shabbos, or was it Yom Tov? I think it was on a Sukkot. They invited Rabbi Safa to give a talk on Koheles. That changed everything. He started quoting Koheles by heart, and his English was absolute par excellence, and I was taken in with him. He was a master. It was wonderful. And we had people coming down to speak. There was little Slotky, you know Slotky. He was the one. His father translated Yevamos in English.
Sonsino.
Slotky. He was from Manchester. Sonsino. He was a scholar. They were from Israel actually. I didn't know that. But his son Judah Slotky, he made all the indexes of the Sonsino, and he became in charge of the Cheder in Leeds.
Yeah.
He wasn't married, you know, middle-aged fellow. And he came down also to give talks, and we had some very important people here.
So
and I saw there
what?
was why? Because there was a yi'ud, there was something to look forward to, you know, Israel and...
But didn't it bother you at such a young age, or maybe that was what the norm was, not to, you know, that people of your age didn't learn, just to go out to work? And
yes, you used to go out to work. No, it didn't affect me at all, because I was learning I loved to
trade. You were learning a trade.
I loved tailoring. It was creative, and I loved it. And anything which was creative, I loved.
So for men,
that was the anomaly of being a shochet, which although you can say it's a tikkun, but the fact is that it was a destructive thing. That's why when I started doing the Sofer, I found myself there.
So your first connection with Rabbi Safa was there?
No, no, I first started learning. Now, there was a chap called Newman there, Aubrey, who used to come in Bnei Akiva.
Yeah.
He didn't belong to Bnei Akiva. He used to come to the Torah Avoda. There was 3 branches. Bnei Akiva was for the young people. Am I'm monotonous now.
No. It's very interesting.
There was Bnei Akiva, Bachad, those who were seriously felt that they were going to Eretz Yisrael.
Yeah.
And Torah Avoda, who religious boys and girls who wanted to be together on the Shabbos. He belonged to Torah Avoda, I suppose. Now he said to me, now his father was the Gabbai of the
That's Shimki Newman.
Shimki Newman.
Yeah.
He was the Gabbai of Chavre Shas.
Ah.
A very rich fellow. He had that land, you know, he built,
Yeah.
he was a builder, Kablan.
Yeah.
Very well to do. And he said, my father is very good at teaching, you know, maybe you should go on Friday nights, you'll find it very interesting. So I started going with him Friday nights.
This, what age were you then?
It's been about 16, 17.
Oh.
And I started learning Rashi. And he also, on Sunday, I used to go to learn Hebrew grammar with him. He gave me a special book, and he was, and I used to do exercises. And
Just before this, what was your knowledge before Til Bar Mitzvah? What did you...
Cheder, we used to go
And
to
what did you learn in Cheder?
Oh, yeah, we learned Chumash,
Yeah.
and we learned...
Not Rashi, just Pshat Chumash.
Yeah, Chumash, and we learned Yeshayahu, we learned.
Shayah.
Yes, yes. And
What about halachas and things like that?
hello, we had Jewish religion,
Oh.
and about Eretz Israel, where it
Yeah.
is, where's Yerushalayim, and so
Geography.
we had an history.
Yeah, you had sort of a background. You had a background, yeah.
A basic background.
Basic background.
I mean, Harold, he knew Hebrew, he could write Hebrew, he learned Hebrew, you know, writing and everything like
Yeah.
that.
So he wasn't, when he went to Shimki Newman, when he entered the Yeshiva, it was just, it wasn't something completely new. You were,
Well,
you knew what it was all about.
But I didn't know Rashi. I
Yeah.
started with Parashas Noach with him. We learned
Yeah.
Noach with Rashi. Then we had Kedoshim with Rashi. Then we started with Gemara. And we started on Perek Shvi of Gemara Shabbos.
Klal Gadol. Klal Gadol.
Klal Gadol. And we started on the, what's the name, the Shloshim Tesha.
Melachos.
On that,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
He was a Talmid Chacham, Shimki Newman.
Yeah, he knew, he was no fool. And well, I suppose he learnt in Lita. You see, he must have learnt in Lithuania. His children, his older boy learnt in Mir.
Ah,
Because when we went
he
to
was sent from England.
Sent from England. So what was interesting when we went to...
Do you know where, by the way, do you know where they are now, these?
One was in Madrigal, somebody dead. One was Aryeh Newman, he used to speak on the Kol Yisrael Lagola.
Oh.
He used to put on Chazal Stern and Rabbi Yisrael Lagola.
And they're Tzedzaim, you don't know any.
He went to Cambridge, Aryeh Newman.
No, they're Tzedzaim, I mean, let's say his grandchildren.
No, I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know anything about them. And what's the name, Newman? My mum knew, when we went to Newman's first time after we were married, so, I introduced them to Shimki Newman, and his son was there.
The one from Mir?
The other from Mir. A nice fellow, he was a dentist. He lived in Manchester, eventually. And we met him when we went to Switzerland. He was there. His wife died, and he was left with 4 children, and he married another woman who was with him at the time. So, I was going to tell you something about him. Yeah, he went to... Now, we met him when we were in Leeds. He was in his father's house. So, Shimki was very taken with Mami.
Yeah.
Her Yiddish. He was a Litvish Yiddish. And,
He was from Lithuania?
Of course, all in fact in Leeds. So he said to his son, listen to her, that's what he called Yiddish. And I said, well, how does he come to know? He said, well, I learnt in Mir, it was in Mir, yeshiva. Oh, that's very interesting. So his Hebrew Yiddish, when you hear of Soloveitchik, he was, when we were in Switzerland, so he was speaking Yiddish to the Hasidim. He said, what kind of Yiddish is
They said.
He said, well, what's going on here? What kind of Yiddish? So he used to dabble there. He used to make it like his father. He used to dabble like his father. They were looking at each other. Anyway.
Yeah, so you used to learn with him.
I learned with him for a long time on Friday nights. And became more religious. And I became a bit of a burden, I suppose.
Yeah, how did Mum take it? How did Grandma take it?
It wasn't grandma and granddad really that were, it was mainly Harold and Manny at the beginning. I got on their nerves.
Why were you chaperoning them for about from kids?
Well, I had to defend myself, you see. There were, and they asked questions and I used to go to Rabbi, and then I started learning in the yeshiva.
Yeah. You left work?
No, I used to work with Dad, and he used to, then, because I was called up conscripted, and I was about 18 then, I was conscripted, and I joined the yeshiva. But before
Why, those yeshiva were popular?
There was a small yeshiva there.
And they were free of conscription?
Yeah. And but even then I remember that it was difficult with the times, the ages I was, but I was very, it wasn't easy because I was to become religious and wear a cappel all of a sudden in the house and so on, because I used to go to B'nai Akiva without a hat at the beginning. I used to put a cappel on even on Shabbos, until eventually Mum bought me a hat, and I felt a bit better when I used to go to Big Bat, you know. Yeah. Because it was awkward for me. I used to use the yarmulke in the sleeve, and it was not easy for me. Yeah. And but B'nai Akiva was received remarkably well. And,
were there others like you also from sort of not from backgrounds as such?
There were some girls. Well, the girls weren't affected to that extent like a boy.
Yeah.
And but eventually, you know.
So when did your connection become with Rabbi Safa then? In the yeshiva?
That's when it started. Yes, when I went to the yeshiva.
Yeah.
And he was my Rebbe there.
Yeah. Where's he from? What's his origin? Rabbi Safa's origin?
I don't know. He may have been born in Russia. I'm not sure. But he studied. You know, he was in England, and then he went to Leeds University, where he got an MA degree, and because he also loved learning and studying. But he started off being in a tailor's shop. But
where did he learn?
Manchester Yeshiva.
That
was the yeshiva in the north.
Well, so his parents must have been from then?
Yeah, of course, yes. He was from a family.
From family, and they sent him...
His wife also was from a family.
Yeah.
And he learnt in Manchester Yeshiva.
This must have been in 1910, being in the 19th century, no? 1910,
yeah,
1915.
That was the period where Rabbi David was the Rabbi Leeds.
Yeah.
And he became his secretary eventually.
Yeah.
And he couldn't find his niche.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how much patience he had with younger children. I know he used to teach in the Cheder, and he used to teach Michael and Danny. How does he come to Michael and Danny? So when he had me as a pupil already, because he could have got in university, but in the Semitics he was going to teach, he had to teach Bible criticism.
Yeah.
And teaching in the yeshiva, and being under, he was very naive, he was terribly naive. Being under the what's the name of Rabbi Gold, who was a very Haredi, terribly Haredi, a very lack of patience, I would say. That he wouldn't, he said, on no account, you've got to live in poverty rather than teach. He could have taught Bible criticism as a way of teaching Bible criticism. You could teach Bible criticism and explain the Jewish
where they're wrong.
Where they're wrong. Or, there are ways of doing it. But he didn't do it, and he refused the positions. And eventually became a teacher of private lessons and teaching in the yeshiva for a few pounds. It wasn't right. Anyway, so he was my mentor, and I learnt a lot from him. I learnt a lot for scholarship. I mean, when I gave, you see, I had problems at home, because Rabbi Gold said you've no right to touch the wine of your parents because of the Chal Shabbos.
Not very clever.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
So Rabbi Safra said, I went to Rabbi Safra, I said,
What are you going to do?
don't worry, you carry on normally, you do what you can do, you do what you can't do, you don't do. You don't have any arguments with your parents and so on. You know, he was a tranquilizer in a way, you see. And it was a great help for me to get older. And then if problems or what Harold and Manny used to ask me questions that I couldn't answer, I used to go to him and he used to tell me how to explain to them those things. You know. Anyway, the fact is that he wasn't successful with his own children, because his own children weren't religious. Only the daughter was remained religious. That was Deitch's. Deitch from Sheffield. She married a boy from Sheffield. Very nice people. But his wife also was a wonderful person. But you know, the wives are they're sort of pragmatic. They don't know anything about. He wasn't. I would say that he didn't get
lived in his own world.
But for me, he was the ideal, and I was for him the ideal, because I took him seriously. Others didn't.
Well, most people.
Well, his children did, and you know, they said, "Oh, he's got his swarim and that."
As far as I remember, he had a tremendous hekif.
Yeah, well, that was what attracted me to him. That was what I was going to tell you, that David Sir, who was eventually become one of the most important gynecologists in Israel, he was our madrich.
Yeah.
Our madrich. And he asked me to give if I would like to give a talk on Yirmiyahu.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I don't mind. So I prepared myself very well, and I had a book by Claude Montefiore in English on Jeremiah. And it was a wonderful book. I thought so anyway. The English was superb. But he was a Christian. He was a Jew who became a Christian. He was the head of theology in Great Cambridge. And I told Rabbi Safra, that I'm giving a talk on Yirmiyahu. He said, oh, right, very good information. I said, I've got a very good book on Yirmiyahu by Claude Montefiore. He said, it's Meshumad. I said, yeah, of course he writes like that, but he inserts poison also. Well, I said, I couldn't find it. I said, you know, but he said, all right. He said, if you've got any problems, you come to me in it. And I gave him the talk on from the Abba. David said when we should over it. He said, look, it's not good for Bnei Akiva. You must give it to Bachad also. And I gave it to Bachad, and from then on.
You were older than them.
Of course, yeah, they were my age, 17, 18.
Bachad were older than you.
Yeah, of course. No, but I was already.
Oh, you're already older. So how long were you in yeshiva there in Leeds?
Must have been about a year or something, learning with him.
Is that when Felix was there? Felix Harris was there?
No, Felix already gone.
He was before you with the yeshiva.
Felix Harris, no, was he in the yeshiva?
Yeah, he writes about
I
it.
didn't know. I didn't know, because when I went to Bnei Akiva, he was already leaving to go to Jews College, I think. And because he was a madrich in Bnei Akiva, and they made a party for him. The first day I went to Bnei Akiva, he spoke. You know, he used to come and visit afterwards.
So, how long did you say you were in yeshiva then?
About a year.
A year, and there you started learning Gemara properly.
Oh yeah, with Rabbi Sabaton. I did Bava Mitzvah.
What was he like in learning Gemara?
Oh, I liked him. I got on.
You were the only one there, or in the shir?
No, there were two others. You see, Rabbi Gold, he had no idea of fearing the business. I mean, he had a shul also. He had houses. That's how he made the living.
Where was he from?
From Lithuania. He learnt in Tells. And he came to Leeds.
He didn't understand English kids, I suppose.
He didn't have any. He couldn't. He used to put up notices about.